every week, tune in for the review. Mr. and Mrs. Chat serving hot like they do. Stand clear of the sidelines, we on the attack. Big Blue Tees, the podcast, ain't no looking back.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Big Blue Tee. So we've gone through all the material you sent us, the articles, the reports, all that stuff. And we've done our best to really zero in on the core story here.
Yeah, cut through the noise a bit.
Exactly. And our mission today is to get you the key insights on a specific New York Giant wide receiver, Jalin Hyatt. Based on everything we've read, he's really at a fascinating point in his career. Possibly defining.
That's right. We're looking at, Hyatt's whole situation as it's laid out in these sources, his journey from being this college star through his first couple of NFL seasons, and really trying to understand why this upcoming season, 2025, is being framed by, pretty much everyone in these articles as the pivotal year for him.
Yeah, it really jumps off the page. And the central question, the tension that we need to explore based on all this material is, what you just said, is Jalin Hyatt finally about to have that breakout year everyone sort of expected? Or, is he really facing a make or break moment? Like for his whole NFL future, it's a lot of pressure and potential wrapped up together.
Yeah, definitely. And I think to understand where he is now, you kind of have to rewind a bit, look at where he came from. The sources are pretty clear. Hyatt came into the league with some significant hype. Drafted 73rd overall back in 2023.
Right. And you look at why there was so much hype, and it's obvious. This is a guy who, according to everything you sent over, just absolutely torched SEC defenses. And we're talking the best defenses in college football. It wasn't just, he was good. He was elite. He won the Biletnikoff Award.
Which, for anyone maybe not super plugged into college awards, that's the trophy for the best wide receiver in the entire country. College football, I mean. That's a massive deal, huge accomplishment, puts him in really rare company coming out.
And that's precisely what makes his first couple of years in the NFL, as documented in these sources, kind of perplexing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you just look at the raw numbers presented, through 33 games in the NFL, his total stats are, 31 catches for 435 yards.
Okay.
And, this is the kicker, 0 touchdowns.
0. Across 2 seasons. For a guy who lit up the scoreboard in college, that's a stark contrast. The sources really hammer home.
It really is.
Yeah.
And they specifically call out year 2, this past season, as being, particularly rough, just 8 catches for a measly 62 yards. That's his second season.
Wow, yeah. That's actually down quite a bit from his rookie year, wasn't it? Which, wasn't exactly setting the world on fire either, but it was more than that.
Definitely more than that. So you see this incredible college pedigree, right? Elite speed, the Biletnikoff Trophy.
Yeah.
And then you see these NFL numbers. The question just hangs there, and the sources seem to be wrestling with it too. What explains this gap? Why hasn't that college dominance, translated? At least not yet. Do the sources give any clues, beyond just the stats?
Well, it's interesting how they handle that. They don't spend a ton of time diagnosing the past struggles, They sort of acknowledge them, state the facts, and then pivot pretty quickly to why 2025 is the focus. But the framing seems to be less about Hyatt himself lacking the skill and more about the situation not really playing to his strengths. The ecosystem, maybe.
Okay. So the sources are leaning more towards external factors, maybe the scheme, the QB play, that kind of thing, rather than saying, he just can't cut it in the pros.
Exactly. And that brings us right to the heart of it, why 2025, according to all this material, feels so different, so crucial. The biggest factor everyone points to, it's the massive change in the Giants' quarterback room.
Right. This seems like maybe the most critical piece of the puzzle presented in these sources. They flat out say Daniel Jones is now out of the picture, at least regarding the kind of deep passing game Hyatt theoretically excels at. That changes the whole offensive philosophy, potentially.
And look who they brought in. The sources highlight this specifically. They've gone out and gotten quarterbacks known for a style that could, theoretically mesh perfectly with what Hyatt does best.
Well, we're talking Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston.
Exactly. What do those guys like to do?
Throw it deep.
Right. They're not shy about airing it out. Plus, they've got the rookie Jackson Dart, who also has a cannon. It feels like a deliberate shift towards utilizing that downfield potential.
And what's really interesting is how the sources directly connect this QB shift to Hyatt's specific elite skill, his speed. Russell Wilson, I mean, his whole career, he's loved attacking defenses vertically. That seems like a hand-in-glove fit for Hyatt's reported 4.4 speed. That's his calling card, right? Stretching the field. And now, maybe, finally, he has quarterbacks who are not just able, but actually willing to let him do that.
Yeah, and this is where the sources started to give me a bit more, actual optimism. It wasn't just theory, it was about actions. Like, there was this detail about Hyatt training down in Atlanta this offseason with Russell Wilson and other Giants players, too.
Right, I saw that. That's not just, showing up for mandatory OTAs. That's putting in extra work, building that chemistry before camp even properly starts. That feels significant.
It does. It's a small thing, maybe, but it points to a proactive effort. Getting that timing down on deep routes is everything. You can have the arm strength and the speed, but if the connection isn't there.
Exactly. And the sources also mentioned he's been getting reps with the first team during these early OTAs and apparently making a good impression.
Yeah, running with the starters, that's a clear signal, right? He's being given a real shot to prove he belongs in this new look offense.
And the positive signs aren't just like whispers or vague reports. The sources actually include some pretty strong quotes.
They do. You've got Jameis Winston, one of the guys competing for playing time, directly calling Hyatt an emerging superstar.
Yeah, and the material's good about adding context there. Like, this isn't just some random teammate saying nice things. This is coming from a QB who's actually thrown for over 5,000 yards in an NFL season before.
Right.
That kind of experience, it lends weight to his assessment of a receiver's potential. He knows what top talent looks like.
And maybe even more telling, you have the presumed starter, Russell Wilson, quoted directly. The sources highlight this. Jalin Hyatt, I think that he's going to have a great year this year. I believe in him.
That's big. A quarterback giving that kind of public vote of confidence. That's got to help build trust, build confidence, within the offense.
It really does. And it's not just internal buzz either. The sources bring in some outside perspectives too. Garrett Podell from CBS Sports, he's cited naming Hyatt as a potential under-the-radar breakout guy for 2025.
Okay, so you've got this convergence, right? The scheme fit looks better. The QBs fit better. He's putting in the offseason work, getting first-team looks. His teammates are praising him. And outside analysts are seeing the same potential. Seems like a lot lining up.
It does, but while the sources definitely build that case for optimism, they're also quite clear about the challenges. The pressure is still very much on.
Oh yeah, no doubt. They make it very clear. Despite all this positive momentum, Hyatt is still, and I quote, fighting for snaps. This isn't a situation where he just walks into a guaranteed starting role.
Not at all. Far from it. The Giants have invested heavily at receiver. I mean, Malik Nabers drafted super high. The expectation, according to these sources, is he's going to be a major target right away, like day one impact guy.
Right.
And you've still got Wan'Dale Robinson, who's already there, already proven he can contribute, and he's also demanding targets, stepping up his game too.
So, okay, even if the scheme and the quarterbacks are a better fit, those passes still have to be earned. And the competition for them is, well, pretty intense, formidable even. And that brings us right back to that core tension, the stakes for Hyatt himself, which the sources really emphasize again and again.
Yeah, after that really tough second year, the sources basically say Hyatt knows what's on the line. They use phrases like, he's playing for his NFL future. They call 2025 a make-or-break campaign multiple times.
It feels like it's not just about validating the draft pick anymore. It's about proving he can be a consistent, productive NFL receiver, period. This opportunity with the new QBs might be his best shot, but the sources frame it with real urgency, like it's now or never almost.
Definitely a sense of urgency. And, for all this potential to actually turn into reality on the field, the sources point out a couple of key things still need to happen. That chemistry building with the new QBs, we've seen early signs, but that's got to continue, got to solidify. That's huge.
Right.
And maybe just as important, he's got to stay healthy. You know how it is. An injury at the wrong time could just completely derail everything, stop that momentum cold.
So true. Okay, so pulling back, looking at everything we've dug into from the material you sent, what's the main thing you, the listener, should take away from this deep dive on Jalin Hyatt?
Well, you've got this player, right? Came in with elite college hype, Biletnikoff winner, all that. But his first 2 years in the pros, statistically pretty underwhelming, especially that second year. The sources strongly hint that maybe, just maybe, that was partly due to a poor fit. The scheme, the QB play maybe didn't maximize his deep speed.
Right. But now, heading into year 3, The whole QB situation is flipped. You got guys like Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, known for airing it out, a potential perfect match for Hyatt's speed.
And he seems to be doing the right things, off-season work, getting those first-team reps. Plus, you hear the positive talk from teammates. Even outside analysts are circling him as a breakout candidate.
But that opportunity comes with serious pressure and serious competition. Malik Nabers is the shiny new toy. Wan'Dale Robinson is reliable. Hyatt has to earn those targets.
Yeah, it's this really interesting mix, unfulfilled potential running smack into what looks like, on paper at least, a much better situation for his skills. But it's all happening under the gun, you know?
Yeah.
He needs to produce.
Absolutely. The conclusion from the sources feels spot on. 2025 isn't just another season for him. It really could define his career. Can he finally put it all together, become that consistent deep threat in this revamped Giants offense?
Yeah, the potential is there, but the pressure cooker is definitely on. It's a season hanging right there in the balance.
It really is. So thinking about everything we've just discussed, from the sources, the past performance, the potential synergy with Wilson and Winston, but also that tough competition from Nabers and Robinson. Here's something for you to chew on. What single factor do you think will ultimately be the most decisive for Jalin Hyatt in 2025? Is it really all about the quarterback play finally unlocking that speed? Or is the competition for targets just going to be too much to overcome no matter who's throwing the ball?
Definitely something to watch closely as the season gets going.
For sure. Lots to consider. Keep digging into those details, folks.
All right, well, I think that just about wraps things up for this deep dive.
Yeah, seems like a good place to pause.
Just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in to Big Blue Tea.
Absolutely. And, a huge shout out always to Black Freezy TV.
Oh,
For
definitely.
the fantastic programming, the production, everything that makes this possible.
Yep, their work behind the scenes is just really appreciated.
It really is.